Welcome in, everybody. I'm so happy to have you here with me. I cannot wait for you to meet Amelie. Amelie is a psychology major. She's a content creator. She's an astrologer with over 6 years of dedicated study in astrology and self-transformation. She specializes in helping people to align their lifestyle, their appearance, and their mindset with their birth chart, especially their rising, Venus, Mars, and sixth house placements for powerful real-life results. Welcome in, Amelie.
I'm so honored. I am so excited too. I was watching all of your tarot reading videos too, and just the intuitiveness and the ability, like the comment sections, the way that people resonated with everything too. It's just beautiful. So
Oh,
it's amazing.
thank you. So, I want to talk to you a little bit about manifesting. I know you're currently trying to manifest some more travel, but you've already manifested travel in the past. It's something that we do a lot. We, work with manifestation energy, and I do a lot. And I'm curious about your manifestation practices on a daily basis, if that's something that you are, and really I'm curious about your spiritual practices on a daily basis, but we'll start a little more micro. We'll just start with the manifestation practices. Is there something that you do every day that you find is really, I loved your manifestation story, by the way, of going
Oh, thank you.
through the credit card debt and the job that was, ghosted you. And then, and I have more questions about that too, but I'll get to that after, one thing at a time.
Yeah.
So really, I want to know about your daily manifestation habits.
Yeah, that's a great question. I think that for years, what I would do is actually have almost insomnia, I would say. I'm not
Mm.
diagnosed, but it can be really hard for me to fall asleep because my mind is just going.
Hmm.
So I thought, how can I use meditation and like spirituality to help with this? So for a couple years, every night at like 8 p.m., I would take an hour to myself and I would meditate. No, I would journal, and that would include journaling about my day, having gratitude for my day, and then scripting the version of myself, the life that I wanted to embody, and feeling the emotions of it. And scripting was one of the biggest manifestation techniques that I've ever used because it's always, I have aphantasia. And if you don't know what that is, basically, I can't form mental images in my head. So when people say, oh, visualize an apple, close your eyes, I just see black. Like I don't see anything. So scripting for me is a really great way to kind of try and imagine the visuals, but connect to the feelings of it, which I think is so important in manifestation. So I would script every night before bed, and then I would meditate afterwards, and I would do like a meditation around manifestation or
Mm.
connecting to the emotions of what I just scripted about. Or if I needed to, and I felt like there's a lot of heaviness in my aura, or I felt like my chakras were out of balance and something was going on that was blocking me from getting to that version of myself, I would really work on that and then I would go to sleep. So that was kind of my daily thing. Yeah.
I love that. Dr. Joe Dispenza also, this might be a fun tool for you. He suggests at some point in one of his books making mind movies. So you like take video off of the internet or wherever of the things you're trying to manifest, and you create like a video of it, an actual video of it, and watch that as sort of a meditative practice in that same emotional
Yeah.
space, which could be fun.
Yeah. Have you ever done that before?
Yeah, I have. I have done that before. I do have very strong visualization, so I tend to do my tapes and I do audio in the morning and at night, going to bed and waking up. I've done that for years, and so do Michael Phelps and like lots of incredible humans who are accomplishing great things. And I do find it like it is incredible. The one I listened to for the longest was like I would find myself repeating the words that I've said, like as I am out in the world doing things. And I'm like, oh yeah, no, I'm moving fast. I'm doing the thing.
Wow.
And I'm like, oh,
Yeah.
look at that.
That's so cool because you're hitting like those perfect subconscious times, like the morning and the night.
Alpha
And then,
states. Yeah.
yeah,
Yeah.
that's
Yeah.
amazing.
Yeah. It's
That's super
wonderful.
cool. I have heard of like the mind movie a little bit. I think I unintentionally did that when I was younger, and I have a video about it
Huh.
too. But I manifested like, or I would say I manifested a trip to Hawaii when I was about 11 years old, because there was this one video and it was a montage of Hawaii, like a Hawaii travel vlog, and it had this beautiful song in it that I loved, and I would watch it like multiple times a day, every single day. I would sit down on my couch and I would just watch the video and like imagine myself there and feel the feelings of it. And I would take the song, I'd put it in my playlist, and then I'd imagine myself there, like with the song. And it only took a few months. And then I had a trip to Hawaii come up in a situation where we never traveled, like we never went anywhere. So it was completely out of the blue. And I was like, how did this happen? And later I kind of realized, okay, that was part of the manifestation process.
I
Yeah.
love that. And you mentioned that you manifested multiple trips to Hawaii, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. So
Yeah.
Hawaii, when we're talking like masculine, feminine energy, is a very feminine energy space. And I'm curious if you're really drawn to it because maybe you also have this lovely, incredible work ethic, and I also have lots of like a beautiful combination. We all do of masculine, feminine energy, but of that like like go for the thing, do the thing, create the habits. And listening to your manifestation video, I loved. I was like, oh my heart, because you're so in that driven energy of, you're doing the sales stuff and doing your full-time stuff and doing your school and all of the things and the content creation all at once. And you're just so driven. And I'm curious if it's a juxtaposing energy to yours that you're really drawn to it because it is that feminine energy that you get to like, oh, I can be in a place that can help me step more into my feminine energy. That is the relax. That is the, you know,
Wow, I never thought of it like that. I wonder, I didn't know that Hawaii kind of had this like feminine energy to it, but when you say that, that makes a lot of sense. And I feel like that could be a huge reason why, because I didn't mention it in the video about like the sales journey, but it was when it was about my third trip to Hawaii that I like manifested. I was in Hawaii and I was laying down and I was like, I need to quit that job that's like taking advantage of me. It just like came
yeah.
through. And it was the time that I was like on a break in my feminine energy after I had been in my masculine for so long. And I just kind of knew that like this isn't right for me. And the people in my life were like, you've worked so hard. What do you mean you're going to quit this job? Like the one that was paying me at most 600 a month, like full time. And I was like, no, I just need to do this. So I wonder if it was like I went into that frequency because do you know about
Mhm.
astrocartography at all?
No, not really. Well, a little bit, yes.
Okay, because when you say that, I wonder, astrocartography is basically like it's a newer system. I think it was developed in the 70s, where there are a bunch of different lines placed along the map based off of your birth time and your birth date. So it's like a map, an astrology map of the world, and it shows you where are the best places for you to move based
Hmm.
off like career success, visibility, all of this stuff. And there's all these lines. So if you're on a specific line, it can activate a different energy. So I wonder if those places have feminine energy in astrocartography.
That is really interesting. That would be really fun to deep dive on. I've definitely
Uh,
had like a map made for me, but I'm not an
yeah,
expert in it, making it myself at any by any means. There's definitely more diving to do. That is
uh,
really interesting. That would be really fun to know.
yeah.
So I do want to know about your other spiritual habits, your daily habits, the things that put you in touch with yourself. You seem to be so, you are young, you are so self-possessed. You have such a like clear, one thing that I really loved that you said in that same video was that you'd been putting so much effort and energy into other people, into creating for other people. And why wouldn't you reinvest that in yourself? And I think on a macro level, that question is so beautiful as well, not just for the jobs that we do and the careers that we have, but also for, you're putting all this effort and energy out into the world for what other people want from you, what society's asking for you. Why wouldn't we reinvest that back into ourselves and say, oh, but this is what I want for myself? Like, let's just shine it back on me. And you seem to be doing that so well and to come to that realization so early. I'm curious about the things that you've designed in your life to sort of support that, to support being who you are and investing in yourself.
Wow, yeah, that's a great question. And like I really appreciate you taking the time to like watch that video and just kind of bring all of that, like reflect on it too. Like that means a lot. I think that I just kind of put content out there and I like speak my voice and I forget that it's gonna like resonate with people just as I'm gonna watch a video of you guys and I take away something that just lands. Um, yeah, with that, I wonder, I don't even know how I'd begin to answer that, but I think that I kind of got to a point where I had invested so much love into other people and hyping them up and wanting to see them succeed. And, I think that a lot of us go through a phase where we watch a bunch of YouTube, especially if we become a YouTuber later in life and we're like, wow, I am in love with this YouTuber. They're my number one favorite. I'm so inspired by them. And the more we watch and watch and watch, I think we just kind of become a consumer of it. And there was a point where I was watching TikToks and they were like, why don't you just become a creator? Like, why don't you just start and create for yourself? Like, is it really that hard? And I was just kind of like, is it really that hard? Can I just choose that I want to be a creator? Can I just choose that I want to step into this identity? And I was like, well, let me just give it a shot. And I realized that I could do what I loved and I could share my voice and actually still help people and give to them and feel full myself. Does that answer your question at all?
Yes, but I'd also
Okay.
love to know about just sort of the daily things that you like. I know
Oh,
that
right.
you journal and your nighttime routine. Do you have any other routines during the day that sort of support that you're coming back to yourself, reaffirming? And this could be any kind of spiritual practice. This could be, just taking a look at, the planetary positions for the day, but also down to, oh, I also take 2 minutes to meditate in the afternoon or, anything.
Right. Okay, that's a great question. Well, one thing I do is every morning I actually have crystal bracelets. One of them is from you guys.
Yay!
I wear this all the time. But this is like a
Yay!
huge part of my spiritual practice. If I'm not wearing my crystals, like I can feel it. And this rose quartz one is like, it's so important for connecting to the feminine. So every morning I'll put it on and I'll have an intention for it. So if I want to be like connecting to love, then I'll do that. And I'll just take a second and like imagine it cleansing and purifying. That's super important and like recharging them on full moons and new moons. Yeah, I love it so much. I have the green one back in my other house right now, the aventurine, but yeah, and then I think another spiritual practice I do on the daily is, well, if there's a day where I don't get a lot of sleep, I will do yoga nidra, and that is my favorite thing ever because it's like equating to 3 hours of regular sleep if you lay there for 1 hour and listen to it and do it. And I think that's just so powerful. And every time I do it, I feel like my brain is getting massaged and I drop deeper into myself. And it's like a full cleanse, like internal body massage is kind of what it feels like. That is a huge spiritual practice for me because I think sleep is so important and it connects us to the feminine. So I'll do that. And then if I'm ever feeling like heavy or something comes up spiritually, what I'll do is I'll take a few minutes to just kind of journal out my thoughts and then reframe it into gratitude statements after I get out what I'm like internally feeling. If it's like lower vibrational feelings, connecting to the gratitude to keep me on that higher vibration. Because a huge thing is like if we sink in those thoughts and like suppress them down, for me at least, it'll make me come out into the world with this lower vibration and it affects other people. So when that happens spiritually, I need to just kind of address it right away so I can stay on that higher vibration. But yeah, those are some
Absolutely.
daily things I'll do.
I love that. Now, you also mentioned that the exercise is a big part of your life. Exercise is a big part of my life too. And I'm curious if that has a spiritual component for you. If you feel like moving your body does relate to your spirituality or relate to your practices or relate to your astrology practice, or if there's any way that you want to read that question.
That is a great question. And then I also want to know about your movement and how you relate it too. But Um, I found out a couple years ago that astrology is so related to what workouts and movements work best for our body, especially like the sixth house, the Mars sign, and the moon sign, and then all the aspects and houses really matter. But I realized that yes, my Mars is in Virgo, which is very much like I can stick to a consistent plan, and that's super important for me. Like weightlifting is such a great practice for me spiritually too, because it gets that Virgo energy of like focusing, being detail oriented, perfecting my movements, and really engaging my mind. Like Virgo is ruled by Mercury, which is all about the mind. But it's the minute that I don't have a consistent plan that I fall off or I get injured. So that's super important. But Virgo isn't known for like high intensity, but my moon is in Aries. And the way that that's aspected means high intensity is super important for me. So sprints work really well. Long distance running, not as good for me because I don't have a lot of like Taurus energy. But if someone did have that prominent in their chart, that would be great. So I really love sprint workouts because it cleanses me. When I do that high intensity, it connects to my moon and it releases any pent up emotions. So spiritually, super important. And then also with the Virgo being in nature, like going on hikes,
Mm-hmm.
really helps me like ground and connect. And I feel like every time I go on a hike, I have like a newer perspective or I'm just kind of refreshed. Yeah, so all those things are super important for a movement. Swimming matters a lot too. I don't do it as much, but I used to do water polo when I was younger,
Oh, wonderful.
and that was really fun. But how does it work for you? Like, how do you feel like it connects?
Well, first of all, I think swimming makes a lot of sense as like stepping into that feminine energy again, because it's, in water, it's fluid, it's, like, I mean, it can mix the masculine and feminine so well. I, uh, so movement's a huge practice for me. And it's definitely, I do think of it. And one of my best girlfriends, we, like walk to like our fitness practice every morning, and we always say the same sort of thing. It's like the best possible meditative time for me, because like I do make time to meditate as well, with just like sitting and clearing, or even while I'm like doing other things, being present. But there's something about exercise and physical difficulty that makes me be extremely present. That's like there's nothing else going on, it's just me, it's the music. I also usually start my morning taking energy off that I don't need,
Yeah.
throwing it away.
Yeah, I noticed you do that in your videos too.
No, I
Yeah,
do.
I really like that. Yeah.
I highly encourage it. It's a funny little like 1 minute and 30 second like energy cleansing, quick and done. Maybe you need a
hmm
volleyball today. But it's a wonderful, I think physical practice is so wonderful because it does affect us mentally so much and energetically so much. It is that thing that sometimes you can, that that whole phenomenon, oh, you smile and suddenly you're in the energy and the vibration of the smile. Like it's a physical thing that affects everything else, and that physical energy changes everything else too. So if you physically need to like, oh, okay, I need to have some more energy to get into a better vibration, to get into a space that feels positive, to get into a space that feels like, hey, I'm here for life,
hmm
then it's physically easier maybe to do that than it is to like mentally work your way around it sometimes.
Yeah, like have the actual movement that you're doing. And I just think of that too. Like I would be more inclined to like move my body rather than try and like mentally work through it because it can be a mess up there and it can be
Yeah.
hard to ground. But when we're doing it on like a physical level, I think it's so much easier. Yeah.
Yes.
I'm curious, do you know your rising, your sun, and your moon sign?
Yes. So I'm Sun Scorpio, I'm Moon
Oh,
Gemini, and I
mhm.
am Rising Taurus.
Oh, okay,
Does that
beautiful.
add up for you? Are you like, oh yeah,
That can make sense.
yeah,
Yes, it
yeah, yeah,
does.
yeah. It makes sense
Yeah.
for me. Like usually, I like going down the cubby holes, and then I'm like, oh, this makes so much sense now. This part of me makes like evens out. Yeah,
Yeah, because also with the Taurus rising, it's giving like you have the plants in the background and like the neutral colors
yeah,
and you're like
yeah.
grounded. No, yeah, that makes a lot of sense. And the Gemini moon is really good for connecting with people on like an emotional level while still keeping it a little bit like witty and fun and like
Yes,
bantering. Like you can have that detachment and that social connection at the same time.
yeah.
That's really good. Yeah.
Okay, now you were saying that you sometimes pull tarot cards in conjunction with your astrological readings. And I'm just curious if you've had any moments of like epiphany, or any moments where you've been like, whoa, this is something that's really like intriguing, just sort of your experience with tarot.
Yeah, that's a great question. Um,
And you
and
mentioned too that
actually,
you've like broken up with somebody because of a tarot
oh
reading
my
too, and you were like,
gosh,
and that was a
yes.
good thing.
Yeah. Oh my gosh, yeah. I forgot I even mentioned that, but I that was like the biggest moments that affirmed tarot for me too, was that because I had been like something felt off to me and for the longest time when I was trying to connect with my intuition, tarot was such a great vehicle because it made
Mm,
me feel like I could connect with my intuition easier. It
mm.
didn't have me like second guessing myself. It was like this thing I could put in front of me and be like, okay, boom, I can trust this. Like, so I was sick, I remember, and I actually didn't even do the tarot reading for myself. I was watching one on YouTube and it said, "Oh, you don't know this, but you need to like end it with this person, like it's blocking you from your path or something." And that same day I was like, this is right, my intuition has been trying to tell me this. I broke up with them. Such a good decision, because that actually created a domino effect in my life.
Mm.
And that breakup is part of what led me to finally start posting on TikTok. Like that happened within the span of a month. So I love tarot because it just gives you that push to like unlock your next level, I think. And I'm sure you've noticed that too at some points. But, when I first got into tarot, doing it for myself, like having my own deck, I would do it in my night routine pretty often as well. I would actually do tarot and then journal and meditate some of the days of the week. And that really helped me see parts of myself that I didn't understand.
Mm.
Um, and it helped in conjunction with the astrology, because, for example, I was like, okay, I'm a Virgo. That can be represented sometimes by the Hermit card and also the
Mm.
Star card. At least I feel like that way. And, but then I would pull these cards and it would show me, like, oh, actually, your life is out of balance in this way. Like, you don't need seclusion, you need this. And I was like, oh, so even though my astrology says this could be going on too. And then it just helped me realize how important transits were, how important it was to like check in with my body. And it just created this whole other layer. And yeah, I mean, so many experiences are coming to mind where I was sitting with someone talking about their astrology, and then we pulled the tarot card in conjunction with it, even if it was just like an oracle card, and it helped give us so much more clarity on what was going on. Yeah, does that answer your question?
Yes. I'm curious about your favorite. Now, this probably changes based on what you're going through in life, but what your current favorite periods of the either month or year are, whether it's, full moons or new moons or big events, solstices, or, whatever is. I'm curious about, do you make a big to do? Do you have a big ritual? Is it kind of just a softer, like, I just have this manifestation intention at this time and a releasing intention at this time? Or what is your practice, or what are you
Oh,
currently into?
yeah. I love that question. I think one of my first viral videos was about the new moon or the full moon on TikTok. That was the biggest thing, was aligning with the full and new moon. I think
Mm.
now, I used to be so adamant about every new moon do ritual, every full moon do ritual. And to be honest, I noticed that as life got busier, it was just harder to keep up with. And the magic that was there, I haven't been connecting as much and I haven't felt as called to, because I used to plan out, like, I'm going to do this and this and this. And at this point, what I feel like is, if I notice there's about to be a full moon, I'll take time to sit with myself and do a meditation, no matter like where I am, and really focus on what I need to
Mm.
release and maybe even like cry out. So that's what I really like about full moons, is because when life is so busy, I can just release. And another huge thing, is eclipses, because every time there's an eclipse, something comes up that I didn't realize was going on in the background. So it's like I get really excited, a little bit nervous, because I'm like, a huge change is coming. But if I'm aligned to the change, it's going to feel more in flow. So I would say, eclipse rituals of like understanding, sitting with myself, journaling, and full moons are probably my favorite right now.
Oh, I love that. And okay, so I also wanted to know if you have any of your own personal, and I know we've covered a few that are really big life shifts for you, but if you have any major life shifts that have sort of led you to a new awakening, to a new path, to a new space where you have a new understanding of what your existence in this world is meant to mean, but also how what you do and what you practice is informing it.
Yeah, that's a great question. Oh my gosh. I think that one that came recently was actually, it comes to mind, I don't know why, but I guess intuitively, like I'm meant to say it. So personally, like I'm pretty spiritual. I believe in like the universe. I believe in like love. I believe in like a higher power. I don't exactly know what it is. I personally don't fully align with like Catholicism or Christianity or anything. But I have a partner who is a branch of Christianity, which I completely respect. And I like exposing myself to different like beliefs and religions and stuff because I think it's so important. And at the end of the day, like I think everyone's beliefs serve their life path. And it's like, I believe in this because it works for me. And you believe in that because it works for you. And it's like, that's kind of how I see it. So I will put myself in positions like going to brand new churches and being in different spiritual practices.
Mm.
And while I'm here with him, we go to church every Sunday. And I didn't, last time I was in church was when I was younger, like growing up in my family. And we went to this service, and the pastor was hilarious. He was cracking jokes the whole time. But he said one thing that really landed for me and reminded me of like the importance of connecting to love and the
Mm.
importance of this idea. Well, I believe that everything is kind of made out of love and everyone is love. And it can be really hard to have compassion in the hardest of moments. And it can be so easy to connect to our ego and say, like, I want this for me and I want this because it's going to make me feel better. And I don't care if they get hurt in the moment. And I think that that's what partly why I felt so connected to spirituality was because of like this idea of love and having compassion for people. But it was a point where I was sitting at that service and I was like, I don't think I've been connecting to love as much. I feel like I've been more connected to my ego and I haven't slowed down enough to realize it. So that was a moment where I was like, okay, you know, even though this isn't a person that is like in alignment with my exact faith, the message they're telling me is landing so much. Like I can learn a lot from being here. And it kind of just created this breakthrough for me, like a mini little breakthrough where I was like, you know, this is why I started all of this. It's like for love, it's not for ego. At the end of the day, like the most fulfilling thing is my connection with people and that ability to get a comment and have something like completely change someone's life or resonate with them and share what I love and do it out of pure love, not out of like a certain monetary goal or out of a certain status goal and all of that. So I think that was something recently that happened to me.
That's beautiful. So with
It's,
your partner, I'm curious, and you don't have to answer this if you don't want to, but I'm curious, do you do a breakdown for your partner and then kind of guide some of your interaction and communication based on what you know about them astrologically? Or do you do compatibility readings for the two of you? Or do you get into any of the nitty gritty with them?
oh, that's a great question. So that's a great question. When I first met him, he was like, "You're probably never going to read my chart. Like, I don't believe in astrology." And slowly over time, like what I love about him so much is he's like really open-minded and like really
Mhm.
kind, and he's super supportive of me doing all of this stuff. And he's like interested in it now a little bit. So our charts are actually really similar. It's kind of scary. Like they're almost the same. They're almost the same. We're both Virgo suns, and like so many other placements are similar. But I know stuff about his moon sign and my moon sign, and that influences how I communicate with him because I learn that stuff, and then we have a lot of open conversations and like communicate with one another. And a lot of the stuff he was telling me about how he communicates, how he wants to be cared for, is in
Mm.
alignment with his moon sign and his astrology in general. And I'm like, wow, I wonder if I can learn even more about your chart and implement this more. So it's kind of like a fine line between listening to what they're saying and trying not to like be like, oh, it's because you're this placement, it's because you're this, but seeing, okay, it seems like you resonate with this part of your chart, like your moon sign. Let me see if these tactics that are generally good for an X moon sign will be good for you. And then kind of like asking him. And usually what I find is everything in his chart resonates with him really deeply when I say it and practice it. So I think it's an amazing tool for knowing how to communicate, how to make our partner feel loved, how to like excite them, how to have a good time with them. But it definitely, I think, has to be kind of transparent or it can turn into like, I don't know, something a little strange there. So that's how I do it personally. Yeah.
I love that. So I really love I believe you have a glow up product, like a glow up like reading that you do. And I'm curious about that. That sounds like so much fun and so interesting. And I'm really curious about your personal glow up journey and what things you've taken. Because I love this is the fashion that, this is how you should be branding yourself. This is how you should be, doing these things in the world and this kind of fitness and exercise and how you incorporate those like cosmic suggestions for yourself, what you've noticed, but also for the people that you've worked with too.
Yeah, that's a great question. And before I say anything about that, do you know your Venus sign by chance?
Yes, my Venus is in Virgo.
Venus and Virgo. Okay, so you have a Taurus rising and a Venus and a Virgo.
Yeah.
Okay, beautiful. So yeah, I do glow up readings, like personal glow up readings and branding readings as well. And I have a course that goes into depth about how you can use your astrology to get your dream body, confidence, glow up in style, attract your dream partner, and all of that. So the two placements that I really focus on and teach a lot about in general is the rising and the Venus, because our rising is all about like our first impression. So you're that Taurus rising, and to me, you come across as very like grounded, a little bit like kind of stoic and like peaceful, and you can be a presence that calms others. So we don't always know how you're feeling initially, like your emotions aren't really on your sleeve. And that's what makes it so easy to like be ourselves around you, because you seem like this steady force that we can just trust. And to go with the Taurus rising first impression, having more like earth tone colors can be beautiful on you. You have that like natural hair color, which looks great. And then doing more like natural makeup or like very nice skincare is super good for the Taurus rising energy. And just connecting with people in like a slow, graceful, feminine way, because Taurus is connected to Venus, right? And then we have that Venus energy in there too. And because you're a Taurus Venus, your Venus placement is just extra. It's like popping with the Virgo. And that can come across as really showing love and being magnetic through the service you give to other people. So it's really great that your brand and well, your presence here on YouTube is about, you being in service to people with tarot readings, you using your feminine energy and your magnetism to share messages with them. And having it very like in a put together way. Virgo's very meticulous, and for someone like me, I have a Pisces rising and then I have a Cancer Venus. So for me, my content, the colors are more like pastel, blue, white, ethereal, spiritual, very like Pisces energy. And that Cancer there, it can mean my magnetism is a lot about nurturing my audience. So when I reply to them, when I interact with them, when I have a reading, it's a lot about like connecting to love and also connecting to nostalgia, and that's just kind of scratching the surface. But what I do with people is I see like, okay, what are your goals? Do you want to lose weight? How can we align your astrology chart, your workouts to match your natural energy so it's easier? Because like Mars, if we go after our Mars sign, that shows us how we're motivated, what we're motivated by. If you're a Pisces Mars and you're trying to stick to like high intensity workouts that a personal trainer tells you to do, that's not going to work because Pisces Mars is about being like intuitive and feeling like the movement you do connects you to your body. But if you're doing movement that you're not really interested in intuitively, it can make you feel disconnected from your body, and it's so easy to fall off the plan. But yeah, astrology just unlocks so much. So I work with people. What are your goals? How do you want to align to your chart? And yeah, that's kind of what I do.
Do you find that you use that information to like map out your own personal wardrobe, to choose your best colors, to like choose your makeup palette and stuff as well?
Yeah, exactly. So you can see I have like highlight on and my eyes are like a little more emphasized in my makeup. That's very Pisces. And then I have like the light blue. I have spiritual elements in my jewelry, which is very Pisces rising. And the Cancer is about kind of like some frilly, maybe some lace. I have like a bow on my shirt, and crystals are very much like Pisces energy. So I really make sure that when I go into a store, I don't try on 30 things like I used to. I know, like, okay, this is in alignment with my astrology. I know it's going to make me feel good. And that's kind of how I do it. Yeah.
I love that. Uh, so I did want to ask how, as I was talking about before, that for that that one video that we were talking about, that I noticed you have this incredible work ethic and you have this I love it that you even mentioned that you were working on like you listened to the tone of your voice and changed some of those things, and you were really thinking of things from a very all surrounding way and just being really in it and driven. And I'm curious, when you cultivated that first sense of purpose, that first sense of like of just working hard, what sort of led you to that place? Did something feed that more to you where you became better and better at just diving in and sort of fostering that that mind space, that mindset to be a hard worker, to be in a space where you are really going after what you want?
Right. Yeah. I think that when it comes to astrology, I looked at like my Mars placements and stuff, and I just found placements in my chart that affirmed that I could succeed. So, I think it's easy for us to get down on ourselves and like question ourselves. And I was like, okay, what are my placements? What are the strengths of them? What are the weaknesses? How can I use this in a practical way? And that worked so well for me because I'm a Virgo and I have a Virgo Mars. So, like, my work ethic, to me, like a Virgo Mars, it's easier for them to work harder and be of service. So I took that and I was like, you know what? I am good at this. And that's what I really like to help people do with their chart too. I'm like, okay, well, you want to do this. You have this gift. This is how you can use it and optimize it. Um, and on like a physical level, I would just listen to a lot of podcasts. I would just feed my brain as much as possible and learn and really stimulate my Gemini IC and just like grow my brain, like learn as much as I could and then take it out into the world in a public way with that Sagittarius MC and just like teach it to others. Um, and just do things, curate my strategy, my growth based off of that chart.
So what's next for you? What's next for you in astrology creation of new products, or what are you looking at right now?
Yeah, I just launched two new readings, like the branding and the glow up reading.
Love
So
it.
right now my focus is just like refining that, meeting people, seeing how it goes, implementing it with them, and also just really taking care of my clients in Astroglow and kind of learning more and more and more about like self growth and branding and glow ups with astrology, and just really becoming someone that anyone from all over the world could come to me with their problems or what they're going through, and I could steer them in the right direction to align with their natural energy. Yeah.
Is there anything else that you want people to know about that we haven't talked about?
No, I think we covered so much. I love your questions.
Thank you for
Thank,
answering them all. I love your
yeah.
energy. You're so fabulous. You're so wonderful. Thank you for doing this with me. It's really super fun, and I cannot wait to see the other things that you do. I can't wait to see your shooting star. Just so wonderful. Lovely, brilliant
Thank you so
energy.
much, Mia. Thank you so much. I love your energy. So grounded with that Taurus rising.